There is a truth buried deep within you, deeper than memory, deeper than thought. It is the truth of who you really are, not the name you were given, not the body you wear, not the circumstances that dance before your senses like shadows on a wall. Who you are is the one who observes, who imagines, who creates. The outer world is not the source of your life, it is the reflection. The cause of all that you witness is not out there in the motion of things, it is in the stillness of you. But until you learn how to ignore what is seen, you cannot create what is unseen. Until you understand how to close your eyes to appearances and open them to assumption, you will be at the mercy of a world that was born of yesterday's thoughts. Reality, as you call it, is nothing more than the echo of belief. It is the mirror of your inner conversations. The very facts you swear by are merely effects trailing behind a long-forgotten state of consciousness that you once occupied, perhaps without knowing it. The world does not speak first, it listens, and it echoes. Every single thing you experience is your own voice thrown back at you, shaped into people, events, and conditions. But the one mistake most make is this: they continue to respond to the echo instead of changing the voice. To create a new life, you must do something radical. You must refuse to give authority to what your senses report. You must rise above the evidence and speak a new word in silence. You must ignore the facts, not out of delusion, but out of deep knowing. Knowing that what is real is what is felt. Knowing that assumption is more powerful than observation. Knowing that you are not here to react to life, but to command it. When you feel lack and continue to think from abundance, you are creating. When the world says no and you persist in hearing yes, you are creating. When your body aches but your inner man walks strong and healthy, you are creating. Reality does not bend to will, it bows to assumption. But assumption must be consistent and it must be felt. You cannot sprinkle a few affirmations into a mind filled with doubt and expect transformation. You must saturate yourself in the state desire until it becomes more real than what you see. You see, the outer world is slow to change, not because it is stubborn, but because it must obey law. And the law is this: consciousness is the only reality. What you are conscious of being becomes your world. Not what you hope, not what you want, not even what you begged for. Only what you consent to as true. And to consent to something invisible, you must ignore something visible. You must shut the door on the facts and open the door to the unseen. This is not fantasy. This is the mechanism of creation. It is how all things come to be. Your imagination is not a toy. It is the architect of reality. Every image you hold with faith, every feeling you repeat with emotion, every inner movie you play over and over again, that is the seed from which your future springs. So you must become disciplined in what you allow yourself to feel. Discipline not in effort, but in attention. You must guide your attention away from what is and fix it firmly on what shall be. But what shall be must be experienced as now. There is no creative power in the future. Creation happens only in the present. The future is merely the unfolding of what you are now assuming. So when you imagine, you must bring your desire into the present tense. Do not hope for it, feel it. Live from it, act as though it is, speak as though it were. Walk in the mood of the wish fulfilled. Let it color your thoughts, your posture, your energy. Let it take you over. And when the world contradicts it, ignore it, smile inwardly, and remember that the world is always late. It is always behind. Those who manifest consistently are not the ones with more talent or more opportunity. They are the ones who have learned to hold a new state in the face of the old one. They have learned to deny the evidence without resistance. They do not fight reality, they override it. They move their attention from the seen to the unseen with the grace of one who knows the end is certain. You must choose now what version of yourself you will occupy. Will you be the version who reacts to the world or the version who recreates it? Will you be the one who adjusts to circumstance or the one who generates new ones from within? Every moment you have this choice. Every moment you are imagining either heaven or hell, and life will reflect it back to you with perfect fidelity. So let us imagine boldly. Let us feel it deeply. Let us walk in the world with the certainty that what we see is not final, it is clay in our hands. It is soft and malleable. It is not here to define us, we are here to define it. And the tool we use is attention. Focused, persistent, unwavering attention. Attention not on the problem but on the solution, not on what is but on what shall be. When your senses scream lack, you must whisper wealth. When the mirror reflects loneliness, you must hold hands with love in your inner world. When your body appears weak, you must breathe the strength of your unseen self. The world may call you mad, let it. The world is always uncomfortable with those who do not bow to it. But the world eventually surrenders to those who command it from within. There is no need to fight, no need to strive. Creation is not struggle, it is alignment. It is resting in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is ignoring the noise long enough for the silence to shape new form. And this silence is not empty. It is filled with potential. It is pregnant with all you can imagine. The question is, what will you fill it with? Stop consulting reality as if it were the judge. It is not the authority, it is the student. It listens to you, it waits for your mood, your tone, your belief. It molds itself to the pattern you impress upon it with your feeling. So if you do not like what you see, do not curse it. Change the pattern, change the state, change the inner conversation. You have been given the most divine of gifts, the ability to choose your state. And the state you dwell in is the key to everything. You cannot create love from the state of lack. You cannot summon success from the state of fear. You cannot bring joy from the state of frustration. You must go first. You must assume the feeling before the evidence. You must walk into the room of your mind and redecorate it with the colors of the future. Let your mind become your sanctuary. Let it become your workshop. Let it become your temple. In the silence you will find power. In the imagination you will find freedom. And in the assumption you will find creation. But you must persist. The world will test you not because it is cruel, but because it is loyal. It is loyal to your previous beliefs. It will continue to echo the old story until you stop telling it. So stop. Stop repeating what you do not want. Stop affirming what you hate. Stop describing yourself in terms that no longer serve you. Begin now to speak the new story. Begin now to occupy the new state. Begin now to feel as though it were already done. Do not ask how. The how is not your business. The how belongs to the intelligence that shapes stars and flowers and oceans. Your only task is to assume the end and rest. Trust the bridge will appear. Trust the path will form. Trust that unseen hands are rearranging the visible for your good. You are not here to survive reality. You are here to bend it. You are not here to obey facts. You are here to dissolve them with feeling. You are not here to observe. You are here to imagine, to create, to embody. And so, from the moment you dare to feel differently, life begins to organize itself around that new feeling. Even if nothing changes immediately, even if the evidence seems stagnant, something has already shifted. Because once you change your state, you are no longer the same being. You are occupying a different layer of consciousness, a new timeline, a revised blueprint of self. You have moved out of alignment with the old pattern and into harmony with a new design. And that design is not out there, it is within you. It is the shape of your assumption, the texture of your faith, the vibration of your imagination. The world cannot resist this shift forever. It must conform. It has no will of its own. It simply reflects like a mirror. And a mirror never argues, it does not reason, it does not protest. It only shows what is placed before it. So when you look into the mirror of life and it shows you lack or loneliness or limitation, do not curse the mirror. Place something new in front of it. Feel something new within. Assume something new. And watch as surely as night follows day, the reflection must change. Ignore reality not with arrogance, but with authority. Not from blindness, but from vision. There is a vast difference between escaping and transcending. You are not ignoring reality to escape responsibility. You are ignoring it to assume the responsibility of a creator. You are not bypassing the world. You are reshaping it at the level where all things are born. And how do you know when you've truly changed your state? The answer is simple. You no longer care whether the outer world reflects it or not, because the inner conviction becomes so rich, so full, so alive, that it no longer needs validation. You feel it so deeply that the absence of physical proof no longer disturbs you. In fact, it amuses you. You smile at the delay because you know it is not denial. It is only the law moving pieces into place. And you stand firm, in silence, in faith, in the knowing that what you have assumed must appear. Creation is not performance. It is surrender. Surrender to the feeling. Surrender to the image. Surrender to the new version of self, as if you had always been that way. This is the art of pretending until it becomes reality. Not childish pretending, but divine play. The child pretends for fun. The awakened pretend with purpose. And the one who can pretend the longest without breaking the spell becomes the author of reality. This is why so many struggle. They break the spell too soon. They peek out of the dream and call it foolish. They plant seeds and dig them up with doubt. They imagine, but only when it's easy. They affirm, but only when the world agrees. They walk in assumption for a moment, then run back to fear when the outer world growls. And so the mirror reflects both. Confusion, contradiction, chaos. You must be bold enough to hold the new state without apology, to carry it within like a secret flame, warming every part of you, guiding your steps, informing your choices. Let the world say what it will. Let the facts insist. Let the evidence scream. You are not listening anymore. You are listening to the deeper voice, the voice within that whispers, "It is done." The voice that says, "Go forth, for all is yours." The voice that declares, "You are already what you seek." When you live from the end, reality bends. When you live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you walk as a magnet to the very thing you once chased. You become the center, the nucleus, the origin. All things begin to flow to you, not because you earned it, but because you became it. You merged with it in imagination, and life had no choice but to respond. But beware of the old habits that will rise. They are ghosts, not gods. They have no power except the power you give them. Doubt will knock, ignore it. Fear will whisper, silence it. Guilt will creep in, replace it with gratitude. These are remnants of your former state. Let them pass without dialogue. Do not argue. Do not wrestle. Simply return to the feeling, return to the image, return to the version of you who already has it all. And that version of you, it exists right now in this very moment. There are infinite versions of you playing out in infinite realities. One is rich, one is poor, one is sick, one is vibrant, one is loved, one is alone, one is celebrated, one is forgotten. And you, dear soul, are the chooser. You decide which version you will animate with your attention. You choose which reality gets your emotional signature. Your life is not fixed. It is fluid, it is clay, and you are the potter. But you cannot shape it by staring at what was. You must turn your gaze inward and create anew. You must lift your eyes to the unseen and declare, "This is who I am now." Not someday, not when conditions approve. And do not worry if you feel the opposite. Feeling is the entry point, not the proof. When you imagine, the feeling will often come later, but persist anyway. The repetition carves the path. The inner movie, replayed over and over, becomes your reality. Let the image become more familiar than the facts. Let the feeling become your default. Let the unseen become more intimate than the seen. The most powerful creators are those who fall in love with what they cannot yet touch. They romance the invisible. They dance with the unseen. And eventually the world must rise to meet them. It must form itself around the one who dares to live from imagination. This is the secret of every great transformation. It is not in effort. It is not in hustle. It is not in struggle. It is in the quiet decision to ignore what is and live from what could be. It is in the silent inner rebellion that says, "I will not bow to appearances." It is in the choice to inhabit the future as now. When you walk by faith, you are not walking blindly. You are walking by vision, the kind of vision that doesn't require eyes, only belief. And belief is not passive. It is the force that shapes galaxies, the power that births universes, the movement that turns thoughts into things. Your belief is your brush, and reality is your canvas. Paint well, paint boldly, even in the midst of contradictions. Persist. Even when the mirror refuses to change, persist. Even when the world throws its facts like stones, persist. Because the moment you persist, beyond doubt, beyond fear, beyond logic, that is the moment reality bends. That is the moment the world opens. That is the moment creation happens. And it will feel inevitable, almost ordinary. The desire that once seemed distant will walk in like it belonged there all along. The condition you longed for will feel like home, and you will realize it wasn't the thing you wanted, it was the version of you who had it. And now that you've become that version, the thing is simply a natural outpouring. This is the way of true manifestation. You are not summoning miracles from afar, you are becoming the miracle. You are embodying the outcome. You are walking, talking, evidence of the unseen, and the world in all its obedient neutrality must echo your inner song. So sing boldly, dream wildly, feel deeply, and most of all, ignore masterfully. Ignore reality not to deny it, but to overwrite it. Ignore it not because you fear it, but because you are greater than it. Ignore it not because it is unworthy of your attention, but because your attention is the most sacred creative force you possess. When you learn to ignore reality with grace, you begin to glide through life, no longer thrown by what appears, no longer victim to the play of shadows. You become the cause, not the effect. You shift from reaction to creation, and in that shift, everything changes. Not because the world is altered, but because your relationship to it has. You are no longer trying to force outcomes or manipulate circumstances. You are dwelling in a new state and letting life respond as it must. You are being it and therefore seeing it. This is the invisible law at work, the rhythm behind every transformation. The world does not change because you beg it to, or because you work harder than others. It changes because you have dared to live from the new story. You have dared to embody the version of yourself that already possesses the thing you seek, and from that embodiment flows alignment, and from alignment flows manifestation. Most people unknowingly live from their senses. They bow to appearances. They affirm the present condition, thinking it is truth, never realizing it is only evidence of yesterday's state. They feel poor, so they think poor, so they speak poor, so they remain poor. They feel unloved, so they act unloved, so they become less lovable. They do not know the loop can be broken, not by force, but by a quiet, daring refusal to accept what is as final. And that refusal is where your power lives. You are not trapped, you are not stuck, you are not destined to repeat the same pattern unless you give it your blessing. You can revoke the old assumption at any time. You can withdraw your consent from the unwanted. You can unchoose the past and reselect the present. This is not delusion. This is dominion. This is sovereignty. This is what it means to walk as a creator in a world that worships circumstance. It may feel strange at first, unnatural even, to smile when the bank account is empty, to breathe deeply when the diagnosis arrives, to walk in love when they don't text back. But that is the test of faith, not the absence of storms, but the calm in the midst of them. That is the sign you are living from a higher state, from a deeper truth. Because you no longer react, you select, you choose your vibration, you choose your mood, you choose your identity. And the outer world, like a loyal servant, takes note. When you say, I am, the universe listens, not to your words, but to your tone, not to your hopes, but to your conviction. I am wealthy. I am loved. I am healthy. These are not affirmations. They are declarations of self. They are stamps upon the formless. They are blueprints for the invisible forces that shape your life. And when you declare from feeling, from inner knowing, from the state itself, you begin to solidify the unseen into the seen. But the world may still look the same. And this is where most falter. They return too soon to the former state. They say it's not working. And in saying so, they undo the work. They cancel the prayer with doubt. They scratch out the new script with old dialogue, and so the play continues as before. You must learn to outlast the lag. All manifestation has a delay. The seed does not become fruit overnight. The idea does not birth conditions in an instant. But once the assumption is planted, it will grow if you do not disturb it. You water it with repetition, you nourish it with feeling, you protect it with silence, and one day it blooms, quietly, naturally, without effort. Ignore reality until it changes, not once, not twice, but relentlessly. Ignore it when it mocks you. Ignore it when it tries to seduce you back into the old story. Ignore it when others point to it and say, but this is the truth. It is not. It is an echo, a relic, a shell. The truth is the unseen cause. The truth is the inner state, and that state is your responsibility alone. No one can feel for you, no one can assume for you, no one can occupy the new version of you except you. And once you do, you release everyone else from the burden of performing in your play. You no longer try to change them. You change yourself. And in that change, they reflect it. If someone mistreats you, do not argue with them. Do not fight them. Do not plead for better behavior. Instead, retreat within and revise the version of them you have accepted. Assume they are kind. Imagine they are loving. Feel their warmth in your inner world. And then drop it. Let it go. Let the law do its work. The mirror will eventually adjust. If money feels scarce, do not curse the bills, do not panic at the figures, do not speak of lack. Go within. Imagine ease, imagine flow, imagine abundance so natural that you laugh at your former fear. Spend in imagination with joy. Receive in imagination with delight. Walk through the store of your mind and buy whatever you want guilt-free. And then rest. Let it unfold. The bridge of events will carry you. If your body feels tired, sick, or broken, do not dwell in the diagnosis. Do not cling to the label. Close your eyes and feel yourself as whole. Dance in your mind. Run, stretch, breathe deeply. Rejoice in the strength of your inner man. Praise the vitality that is yours in spirit. The cells will listen. The flesh will respond. The body must obey the consciousness that inhabits it. You are not the character, you are the author. You are not the reflection, you are the light. You are not the puppet, you are the hand that moves it. And as such, you hold the pen, you write the lines, you choose the theme, the plot twists, the final scene. So why write tragedy when you can write triumph? Why tell the story of defeat when you can declare victory? Why repeat the script of lack when you can speak the language of abundance? Change your assumptions and your world must conform. Not sometimes, not occasionally, always. This is the law. And the law plays no favorites. It responds not to your desires, but to your beliefs. It reflects not your dreams, but your convictions. So let your convictions rise. Let them be filled with joy, with peace, with power. And let the world echo back the music of your soul. Ignore the current and swim in the unseen stream. Ignore the noise and tune into the silent song. Ignore the clutter and see only the design. You are always creating, whether you know it or not. So create on purpose. Create with clarity. Create with love. And when doubt comes knocking, as it surely will, do not answer. Let it knock. Let it tire itself out. You are no longer available for fear. You are no longer available for limitation. You are no longer available for the version of you who doubts. That self is retired, replaced, outgrown. You now walk in the rhythm of faith. You speak the language of fulfillment. You breathe in harmony with the end, and from that end you live. And because you live from it, it must be. This is not philosophy. It is law. It is the principle behind every miracle, every breakthrough, every transformation. Do not let appearances dictate your identity. Appearances are but clay, and you are the potter. Speak a new word over them, and then walk away, trusting the form will follow. It always does. Telepathic clarity will bring its own, but to make eye contact is not. You do not need to explain your new state to others. You do not need to justify your joy or clarify your confidence or outline your inner work to anyone who does not see it. The awakened one lives quietly, not because they are secretive, but because they understand. Reality is shaped in silence, not in noise. Creation begins within, not through performance or persuasion, but through conviction. When you know it is done, you don't need to talk about it. You walk differently, you breathe differently, you radiate a frequency that the world cannot ignore. And that frequency is the language of the law. Everything in this universe is vibration, and your state of consciousness is your tone. When you enter the state of wealth, abundance begins to organize itself around you. When you enter the state of love, people begin to reflect that love back to you. When you enter the state of success, doors open, paths clear, coincidences accelerate. But these effects are not magic. They are law responding to cause. And you, dear soul, are always the cause. You cannot fake this. You cannot force it. You must feel it. You must enter it like a warm bath, like a familiar home, like a forgotten melody you suddenly remember. And if the feeling evades you at first, be patient. Persist. Immerse yourself in the new scene again and again until it becomes second nature. Let it become your default inner reality, so saturated that